It was late, around 11 at night. The apartment was completely silent. My husband was asleep next to me, and the only sound was his soft breathing. I was just about to fall back asleep when I heard it, a knock on our door. I didn't think much of it, I figured it was my daughter. She was coming to visit from Abilene and was planning on a late arrival. I didn't want to wake my husband, so I quietly slipped out of bed. The floor was so cold. I threw on my bathrobe and tiptoed to the door, listening for another knock, but nothing. I looked through the peephole, and there was nobody there. I was a little confused, but I just figured I'd imagined it. It was late. I closed and locked the door and was ready to go back to bed. Then I heard it again. But this time, the knock was coming from the balcony. Our sliding glass door has these sheer, lacy curtains, and through them, I could just make out 2 figures standing outside, 2 children. I was completely baffled. We're on the 2nd story. There's no fire escape, no stairs, nothing for them to have gotten up there. My heart started to race, but I still couldn't just leave them out there. I slowly reached for the balcony door's lock, but as my fingers touched the cold metal, this wave of pure dread just washed over me. Something about them felt horribly, horribly wrong. I ignored that feeling, though, and just cracked the door open a little bit. The taller one was a boy, the smaller one a girl. They both wore dark hoodies with the hoods pulled over their heads, hiding their faces. But when they looked up, that's when I saw them. Their skin was this sickly, pale white, and their eyes were completely black. Not dark brown or shadowed, but an absolute featureless black that just swallowed everything. I finally found my voice and asked them what they were doing and how they'd gotten up there. The boy didn't answer. He just looked at me with those vacant, dark eyes and asked if they could come inside to use the phone. I said no, but I told him I would make the call for them. On one condition, they had to tell me how they got onto the balcony. The boy smiled, but it wasn't a real smile. It was more like his face just didn't know how. He took one step closer and said, "Let us in." A primal part of my brain just screamed at me to shut the door. I slammed it shut and locked it as hard as I could. I ran to wake my husband. I told him everything that had just happened, but he was skeptical. Still, he got up and went to the balcony door. When he opened it, no one was there. I didn't believe him. I had to look for myself. The kids were gone. He told me I needed to stop drinking so much coffee so late, and we went back to bed. But I'm telling you, I know what I saw. I know what I felt. And to this day, I can't look at that balcony door without seeing them. I know they were real, and they were just waiting for me to open the door. They weren't lost. They weren't in trouble. They were just waiting for her to open the door. What would you have done? And what if they come back? This file is now a permanent part of the Under Ink archives. If you have your own story you'd like to submit, you can find a link in the description, along with some of the tools I use to document these accounts. I'll be back soon with another file, but until then, the archives are closed.